Hello. You are about to watch a video produced by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. The last phase of addiction is the disaster phase. At this point, the struggle between the rational part of the brain and the emotional part is over. Drug or alcohol use is automatic, and few other thoughts occur other than using drugs. In the disaster phase, negative aspects of using far outweigh the few remaining positive ones. Triggers now include any emotion, any time of the day or night, because drug use is pervasive. The overpowering strength of the conditioned response results in obsessive thoughts of using, powerful physical responses, severe psychological dependence, automatic use, and persistent paranoia. The person has sacrificed all aspects of a normal life to obtain and use drugs or alcohol. It is impossible to have a relationship with this person. The drug has hijacked the rational brain.
Using was a way of life for me, so I didn't need a trigger. I woke up, it's time to use.
When I first started using, it was insanity. First of all, I was so young. I feel like I was very blessed because I didn't have a lot of criminal involvement and I didn't have a lot of serious health issues. I didn't do a lot of things that you see sensationalized in the media now. I didn't take my clothes off and dance on bars and do a lot of that kind of crazy thing. But I woke up in parks and I woke up in cars and I woke up in people's houses where I didn't know where I was, simply because I used so much that I would completely self-medicate myself to where I wasn't conscious.
Yo he perdido muchas amistades, otros están presos, haciendo mucho tiempo en la cárcel. Ahora mismo cuando voy a Puerto Rico casi no encuentro casi ninguna de las amistades mías que se criaron conmigo, por eso mismo, porque algunos los han matado, algunos están haciendo tiempo en las cárceles. Y es bien triste, tú sabes, la problemática esta de la adicción.
As far as I was concerned, this was the way to do life. I was hanging out with other people who were using, so that gave it a sense of normality. So it was on from there. Little did I know when I started that it would become something that would essentially consume 30 years of my life. And I look back at that, and it's like 30 years I won't ever get back. 30 years that I could have been progressing financially, spiritually, socially, and 30 years that I was just going downhill.
At this point, just thinking about the drug or alcohol results in overwhelming cravings and almost certain drug use. Cravings are so overpowering that they drown out any ideas about stopping.
I started dismantling, or should I say, my drug use started dismantling my life piece by piece. I was willing to compromise things that I was, never thought I'd have to compromise. My values, my morals, myself, and I started losing things. So first I started losing friends, secondly I started losing jobs, thirdly I started pushing my family out of my life. I did all those things, and eventually I created a life for myself that was just about using. And that's the way it ended.
After I got the felony, like I said, I'd take random drug screens, and I was taking in other people's urine to make, to get through it, not to get caught. And, I got caught, and I never was as slick as I thought I was. And I knew that I could not stop. I knew it in my heart.
It was never fun. It was never social. And I had a really, really good time in college. And I was very functional and very productive. The problem was when all that was over and everyone went out in the world, I didn't know what to do. And by then I couldn't stop. And by then it had control of me. And every time I tried not to drink because bad things were happening, that never really worked. And so that was my drinking in a nutshell. It was never normal. And most of all, I think it's important, it was never halfway. The person that doesn't have the drinking problem, this is what they really don't get. One drink to the alcoholic doesn't make any sense. Going out, having a glass of wine over dinner, completely pointless to me. I would drink solely to get completely, obliteratingly drunk. And anything short of that really wasn't acceptable, and it just meant I had to keep going. There was never any halfway with that.
You know, we talk in recovery about the insanity of addiction. And the insanity is that as much as my use of chemicals was hurting me, physically hurting me, collapse in my circulatory system, liver problems, other type of damage that the drugs were doing, in my mind, these very chemicals were necessary for my survival.
I would have one beer or one shot of alcohol and I could stop whenever I wanted to, but when the obsession and the thoughts came back that I could not wait to be drunk again, I felt like I had no control and I was scared. I didn't know what to do then, and that's when I reached out for help.
But there is help. After the break, we will discuss treatments that help people cope with the devastating effects of the disease of addiction.